Hey guys, so welcome back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about 5 books that I would like to reread. These are books where I often think about the characters or often think about the theme, basically the whole book. Like in my early reading journey, it was like once I read the book, I wasn't reading it again. But now since I've become a serious reader, there are a lot of books that I do want to reread, especially ones when I was like younger and now reading them, in my 30s as a grown adult woman, just getting a different perspective. Not this year. Last year was the first time where I started to reread books again. A lot of times, like in my early reading journey, it was like once I read the book, I wasn't reading it again. So I was just mowing through some books that I wanted to reread. And these are the ones right now that just popped into my head. I was like, oh, yes, I really want to reread these. So before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so the first book I want to mention, it's part of a series, and it is the Skyland series. It's the second book in the series, This Could Be Us. This is my favorite by far, my favorite of the whole series. I actually got my sister into reading this series. My sister likes to, listen to her books, and I was telling her, I said, everyone always talks about Before I Let Go, and that's a good book, don't get me wrong. But I said, I think you're really going to like the second book. And when she finally finished the first book and then she read this, she said, oh, yeah, you are totally right. She loved it. Okay. She is currently on the third book. I read the whole series. And again, this is my favorite. I really want to reread this. I did a reading vlog, I'll put down below, of me reading the first and second book. And Soledad, when I tell you, such a great mom, such a great friend, such a great sister. She's such a likable character. It's like you cannot hate Soledad. And I also like the perspective of like stay-at-home moms. And for a person that does not have kids, really opened my eyes. I knew that obviously, raising kids and being a housewife, that's an important job, and as being a stay-at-home, mom. But again, it just put it in it for me, it put even more of a perspective and a microscope. Sometimes that can be looked down upon. If you say, oh, I just want to be, a mom and a wife, people looking at you like, you don't want a career. I want to be at home with my babies. Okay. That is a job in itself. Okay. Next is Meet Me in Mumbai by Sabina Khan. You guys know I recently did a video of YA books, some of my favorite YA books. And this by far, first of all, this author is one of my favorite YA authors of all time. She is a automatic buy when it comes to YA books, and this story in particular is just absolutely my favorite. You get 2 different perspectives. You get a mother, you get a birth mother, and you get a daughter, and you have a young Indian girl. She becomes pregnant when she's a senior in high school. She doesn't know what to do. She decides, I'm going to, give my baby up for adoption. And then you get the daughter's perspective when she is basically the same age as the mother, and she finds a box and of her mother's things, her birth mother's things, saying, if you ever find in your heart to, see me, meet me in Mumbai, which is a city in India. And y'all, such a great story. Oh, I loved every minute of it. Okay, next is another YA book, and I just read it last week, and y'all, The Scammer. I read this on my Kobo, and as soon as I was reading this, I said, oh, I definitely am getting a physical copy, because with mysteries and thrillers, I want to always have the physical copy because I want to be able to mark, it, and I can go back and, see if I was right about the clue, or, and again, as soon as I was reading this, I said, I have to have it. And then the cover is just bomb, you guys. Oh, look at this cover. It is just so pretty. So I was so excited when I got it. Finished this book in 2 days. I'm on a Tiffany D. Jackson kick. I'm currently reading Allegedly, and my mouth is already dropped. Okay. I am trying to hold on to that story because, again, I had so much of a good time reading this book, y'all. It's like this, Allegedly, the book that I'm reading now. Oh my gosh. Ah, so I'm just trying to hold on to that story because Mary has my heart right now. If you guys have not read this, please read this. It just came out last month. This is already going to be in my favorite books of this year. Next is Jessie Redmond Fawcett, Plum Bun. Now, you guys know Jessie Raymond Fawcett. She is from the Harlem Renaissance. She is the mother of the Harlem Renaissance. If we did not have Jessie Raymond Fawcett, we wouldn't have Langston, we wouldn't have Nella, we wouldn't have Claude McKay, all of the greats when it comes down to that literature and that genre. She is the one that put them on the map. She is known for this book, Plum Bun. This is her second book. She has, I want to say, 4 books in total. I've read all of them except one. She is my favorite author from that time. And this book, please read this book, you guys. I have 3 copies of this book. That's how much I love this book. But this is about passing. You have a young girl named Angela. Angela can pass. She lives in Philadelphia, I believe, and she is a artist. She paints so well, and she realizes I'm just getting held back because of my race, and I am going to pass. I'm going to go to New York, and I'm going to pass. So she goes there, and her thing is, when I pass, I'm going to be able to do whatever I want to do. I'm going to be a white woman. I can go through life easy. But then she realizes there is another hurdle, and that is my gender. And she does some things that she knows she shouldn't do. She knows she wasn't raised to do that, and she compromises a lot. And then you have her sister, Virginia. Virginia is the same color as me, so she cannot pass. And, she's trying to navigate her life. The character you're going to be dealing with is Angela, but Virginia is going to come into play because she also, comes to New York, and clearly she's black. So, she can't mingle with her sister in the way that she would want to. Y'all, this book has it's almost like it's a happily ever after type of book. And you would think, wait, passing? Injustice when it comes to race and, gender and all that? Mm-mm. Y'all, this will make you happy. And then the last book that I want to read, it is called My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Now, with this book, I would say caution, 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 because this deals with sexual assault. It also deals with uh yeah, you would say pedophilia. You have a teacher. He starts to take a liking on a student that she's underage. She's about, what, 14, 15 years old. But it's so complicated because she the he manipulates her, and the main character, she knows that she shouldn't do what she's doing. She shouldn't be involved with this, teacher. He knows it too, but he's just so sick. I would say, again, if you don't like, well, who likes topics like that? But if you have a difficult time reading about, pedophilia and, predators and things like that, this will not be the book for you. Also, there is a not a love scene. There is a sex scene. It was difficult to read because this is a grown man in his 40s, and that child was about 16 years old. And uh, that was the first time I ever read a it's not a love scene. I keep on wanting to say a love scene. I read a little scene like that when it came to a minor and an adult, and it was very difficult to read. Very difficult. Actually, some of the parts I skimmed because I said I can't read this, and I've read some stuff. You hear me? But yeah, no. But then also in this book, there years late, she deals with this man. I mean, till she's a minor all the way until her 30s, right? And a young a story comes out about um another young lady that he was messing around with that was underage, and she wants to bring, this story to light. She wants to bring, justice. And the young girl, what's her name? Vanessa, obviously. Her thing is, I don't want to deal with that. I was willing to be in this relationship, and that girl looking at her like, girl, you was about 14, 15 years old when you started this. So what is you talking about? Again, this book is very deep. I do want to read it again because I remember this came out in 2020. Read this 5 years ago, and I was in my 20s. Um, I want to read it in my 30s. And I just want to read it again because I do remember after I finished it, I did have to take, obviously, a break from this. This is a book where when you read it, you're going to need a break. The author said she was heavily inspired by Lolita. So I wanted to read this book again and then go and read Lolita, which I know that's going to be a time. Okay. But again, caution, caution, caution when it comes to this book. This is not a book that I would recommend to people. This is not a light read. It's not a light read. This is a read where after you read it, you just want to take a shower. I know I'm saying all this, but I do want to read it again just to read it again. But yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to books that I want to reread. Again, I have a lot more that I do want to reread. First, I want to tackle these books and then go into some more rereads. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. And I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.